Hello and welcome back to the Allan Kardec USA channel, where we discuss the doctrine of Spiritism as codified in his writings by Allan Kardec. In this video, I will briefly discuss a bunch of mini topics, all regarding our universe. What was there before the universe began? The evolution of life on Earth. Do human souls reincarnate in animals? Was Adam and Eve the first man and woman on Earth? And more. You may find hundreds of other videos here on YouTube discussing the formation of the universe, but I have noticed that almost all of them use a lot of very complicated scientific terminology. I want to present this discussion as simply as possible so that maybe even children can understand it. So let's get started. First, when we say universe, what exactly are we talking about? What is the universe? The universe is all of space, everything, including planets, the sun, stars, and galaxies, and all the matter that's out there. Then we ask the question, how big is the universe? Well, scientists that study space, astronomers, will tell you that the furthest thing we can see from Earth is about 47 billion light years away, making the size of the observable universe about 94 billion light years across the Earth. That is a number so large that it is difficult to comprehend. 94 billion light years. Let's just say that the observable universe, what we can see, is huge. Now, the bigger question might be, okay, what is on the other side of the observable universe? The space that we can't see. Well, obviously, more space, meaning more universe. And lastly, how much bigger is that? Scientists, astronomers, don't know. One theory has it that space, made up of a dimension that is not understood by current science, creates a situation that if you departed Earth and were able to travel to the end of the universe, if there is an end, and you keep going, you would find yourself returning to Earth in the opposite direction. But the more widely accepted theory is that the universe is infinite. It goes on forever, which means that you cannot ask the question, how big is the universe, because there is no size per se. It goes on forever. It has no end. There is no end. It is infinite. And infinity is a very difficult concept to comprehend, isn't it? I mean, everything has a size. Everything has a beginning and end. Now, was the universe that we can see with our eyes, with the most highly technologically advanced equipment available to us, planets, moons, stars, was it always here? Astronomers have made a good case that the universe was not always here. By studying the movement of the galaxies, including ours, and by performing all their scientific calculations, it is very likely that there were no galaxies or any kind of matter at all in space at one time. Nothing. Total darkness. The universe was totally empty. But there had to be something there that started everything, causing what scientists refer to as the Big Bang, right? An event, some kind of explosion that astronomers say occurred about 15 billion years ago. Because you can't get something from nothing, right? The laws of nature and our logic tells us that. Something had to be there. Something had to create something. So the Big Bang created the universe that we can now see, and it caused, aside from millions of planets and stars in space, our solar system that includes our sun and the earth, and how a perfect alignment of our solar system resulted in the creation of life on our planet. That by a process of evolution over millions of years resulted in the existence of all life that we see today. Does it make sense that the process required to produce life as we know it came about by a series of coincidental circumstances with our solar system? Some kind of event that set everything in its place perfectly by chance? No, that doesn't make sense. The only reason that makes sense, the most logically explained reason, is that there was some kind of supreme force, and more importantly, a supreme intelligence that designed it. So what caused the Big Bang? What was there before the universe came to be as we know it? Like I said, it could not have been nothing. Something had to be there to start it. And how far back in time did that void, empty universe exist? Scientists can't answer that one either. Because if you provide any certain time when the void of darkness began, what was there before that? Space was always there. We go back in time infinitely. There's that word again, infinity. How is that even possible? Therefore, the one thing in the empty universe, that one thing that was the almighty supreme force and supreme intelligence that set everything so perfectly for the creation of life, that one thing must be what we call God. At the start of the Bible, we have the book of Genesis. Tradition has it that Moses wrote the book of Genesis, but nobody is really sure. But whoever wrote it did so millions of years after the first forms of life appeared on earth. So how did Moses, if he wrote Genesis, how did he know how the universe began? In Genesis, we see the following. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. If we think of heaven in this sense as the universe, God created the universe and the earth. Then here we have the Big Bang. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. In the Spirits book by Allan Kardec, in chapter 3, question number 37, we see where Kardec asked the Spirit the question, was the universe created, or has it existed from all eternity like God? And the Spirit of high degree answered, obviously, the universe did not create itself. And if it had existed from all eternity like God, then it could not be God's work. In the next question, Kardec asked, how did God create the universe? To which the Spirit answered, to borrow a well-known expression, by the divine will, by God's will. Nothing can better portray that all-powerful will than those grand words from Genesis. God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. So God, the supreme intelligence, the almighty force of nature, suddenly created everything. But it would be for us a very slow process of life, evolving into what we have on earth today. First, there would be creatures in the oceans for millions of years, and some of those sea creatures eventually evolved into various land animals for millions of years, and some of those animals evolved into some of the over 9 million different species of creatures in the world today, including primitive primates that eventually separated into different species that broke off from their pattern into what would eventually become human beings. Why God designed a very, very slow evolutionary process is also a mystery to us. Why many species that came and went, such as the dinosaurs, was necessary in God's plan is a mystery. We can come up with different theories, but we don't know for sure. And not even elevated spirits are able to explain it to us yet. Did you know that humans and chimpanzees share 98.8% of DNA? Google it, and you'll see. Humans and chimps share almost 99% of DNA. The fact is that humans share some amount of DNA with every form of biological life on this planet. Everything. Plants, animals, fish, and even insects. This seems to tell us that we all originally came from a single life form billions of years ago that split into all the different species. But 99% of DNA shared with chimps is pretty astounding. And it tells us that in the animal kingdom, as much as many people may not want to believe it, they are our closest relative. Now, this doesn't mean that humans and chimps can mate and procreate, create offspring or children. And that's because the number of chromosomes, the building blocks, so to speak, for procreation, are different in both species. That aspect of our biologies was split off at some point during our evolution, making procreation impossible. Then this takes us to the question, when did God begin creating souls for humans? Another way to ask that question is, when did spirits of the spirit world begin incarnating into humans? And later reincarnating after death back into another human. Spiritism teaches us that human souls or spirits began when humans began. Before that, there were souls or spirits for Neanderthal souls, which were souls not as advanced. Dogs have dog souls or spirits. Cats have cat souls or spirits. And so on and so on. Of course, and contrary to what some religions teach, an animal's spirit cannot reincarnate as a human spirit, and vice versa. Remember that Spiritism teaches how a human spirit may remain at the same level if the spirit hasn't learned anything during his or her mission on Earth and does not advance, or it may advance to a higher degree, like graduating from one grade to the next in school. The human spirit can't go back to being a dog spirit. A child can be left back in school, requiring he repeat the same grade, but a child in the 5th grade, for example, is never sent back to the 4th grade. It's the same concept. An animal spirit, a dog spirit, for example, however, may advance into a human spirit, but it may be thousands or possibly hundreds of thousands of years before that happens. Even knowing and seeing how many dogs are seemingly very intelligent animals. But by that time, the dog on Earth has also likely evolved into a more intelligent creature as well. Was Adam the first human man on Earth, and a rib removed by God from his body, creating Eve? Was she the first woman on Earth? Science and the study of human fossils and bones buried over the past 300,000 years have pretty much disproven that. When Moses spoke of Adam in the book of Genesis, he was obviously referring to the beginnings of mankind. There, in fact, were many Adams and many Eves that sprung up over the course of time in God's plan to continue creating more human lives by means of procreation, with a supreme intelligence then giving them the means to raise those lives. One must have a lot of blind faith indeed to believe that everything in the universe, by chance, by coincidence, had settled into its proper place to create life as we see it with our own eyes today. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel so that you are alerted when the next video is uploaded. You may also share your comments below, or if you would like to write to me personally, I can be reached at cardecusa@gmail.com. My name is Ciso. Take care and have a blessed day.